Aldo, hello again. Thank you so much for making more time this week.
No worries at all.
So, you're helping me build a website. Can we see how far we got last time?
Yes, we can. Do you
Oh
want to see
gosh,
in the code
that's
or do you want to see in the website?
I mean the website, really. At the end of the day, the code's fun and it's nice to write a little bit of but really. And these are just placeholders for now.
Yes.
So the title of the website will probably not be the title.
No.
And the text will probably and we probably won't have this very intimidating looking bird as our main picture. But that's chill for now. And I think we were lying to ourselves as well. We said we've got a to-do list of stuff we were going to do. What's on that?
So let's see our to-do list. Yes. Not ready to
our
one,
to-do list. Yeah. And then yesterday, the last thing we did, I believe, was we said, oh, let's create all of these empty HTML files for what we need.
Yes.
So we could either start populating those, but what I was thinking we might want to do today is start sort of blocking out the structure of how all of the pages will feel.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because it lets me write some CSS, and I'm terrible at CSS. Pair programming wise, you're driving again.
Yes.
I figured it would let me bully my smarter, cooler friend into writing some CSS with me, which should be fine. Yeah. So when we look at the index, when we look at what the page actually looks like, I had an idea for what I thought, because what is responsive? I hear responsive all the time for websites. What does that exactly mean?
Responsive means that the website works on different screen sizes most of the time. So yeah, like your mobile and your widescreen I'm looking at now and your laptop screen are all different sizes. So hopefully it would like work on different screen sizes.
Yeah. And I think that was so honest where you're like, look, it'll work on most screen sizes. That's extremely honest. So I really wanted to make a responsive thing where maybe I had a chunk at the top for all the links, all the places you go on the website, a chunk along the side. You could very, very clearly tell how old I am. Where it's like, oh, that little sidebar where you put all your other stuff, and I'm like, oh, like you did in 1997. And a footer. So really, just a very, very 1997 looking website.
Cool.
But then, if you were looking at it at a small enough screen, that they would just sort of stack in columns. So like the header, content, and the side, the side doofer would just be So yeah, on a big screen, have a top bar and sidebar for navigation. And then if I'm on a little screen, have those be like a little sandwich looking deal. Little sandwich looking deal being a very technical term, isn't it? So I think I might have to cheat, and I'm going to drop the link in as I cheat and look up MDN.
It's not cheating.
I think it always feels like cheating. So the header element. So we already put a head in our website, and that's got like our title. We'll put our meta tag in there, all the boring gubbins. But I think we can put a Anjaman is saying, oh, I'm going to add doofer to my technical term. I think gubbins is British for doofer, isn't it? An older generation in the States might say thingy bopper as well. So a header is something we could put in the body, and we could have that be sort of our top aligned div, right? It's not a div. It carries more semantic meaning. But if I want something across the top that has all those links, do you think like a header element would be a good way to semantically communicate that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because you have two navs, don't you? You have like a side nav and a top nav, don't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, do we want to use nav then? I confess that the side nav, do you know what I was going to put in those?
What?
Not website navigation. I was just going to put in links that I thought were cool to stuff I liked on the internet.
Oh, okay, that's different then.
We,
Yes. Okay, you can probably use the header on down to the top then.
yeah. Well, because like back in the 90s, like a link roll was really popular on websites. I love how you're like, I heard about the 90s. Those existed.
Haven't heard of link roll though. But
Oh, really? So I promise. And if anybody else is very old and watching this, please back me up. It would be reasonably common to say, "Oh, here's my website," and it always had like a little bit of an awkwardly earnest name, like "my website" or "Jesse's website," and like 4 exclamation marks, because this is really what would become the MySpace vibe. And often you'd have like a little link section, and it wasn't your stuff. Maybe it'd be your friends' websites, and that's really the kind. Oh God, Platypus has my back. Welcome to my link collection. This is the sort of thing. Yeah. I love how lovely you are. You're like, I've heard of a web ring. I'd be like, okay. Yeah. We're all very old. So web rings were like a little awkward club. I mean, all of this sounds very awkward. So I think we would probably use a nav to hold all of the other links to the other stuff that we've got, right?
Cool.
Yeah, and so the nav above the title, that feels right.
Yeah.
Why is it important to use nav instead of like a div or a header for this?
It's important for screen reader users, and I guess anyone else who cares about the structure of the HTML as it's being read out, because it announces the type of element as it goes, so it's easier to navigate. And also, when people are maintaining this, it'll be easier because they'll know what you meant when you were trying to do this.
Oh, you know what? Aside from your own dear self, who's too patient, I can't imagine being able to get some other friends to help me maintain this. So the stuff that goes in the nav is really the last kind of stuff we created yesterday. So, and I really like how to describe making links. So if we start a new Pac-Man Babby element, it's A for anchor, right?
Yeah.
And then technically, like officially, it's a href, so a hypertext reference. But I really like to imagine like you're picking up an anchor and that's sort of the whoof sound.
That's great.
Well, because like when you're linking, I like to imagine picking up an anchor and throwing it to this other page and leaving like the chain between them. And when I teach newbies saying like, oh, this whoof sound, think about it as throwing the anchor. And that has worked exactly once where somebody was like, that was helpful. And most people are like, that weird old woman. So in the quotation marks, we're going to have to put where this goes to.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm terrible at this. We need the information architecture as well.
Yes.
So if I'm coming to my website, already weird, out of all these things, what am I going to click on most? I'll probably do more writing than anything else, right?
That's true.
Yeah, maybe having writing be the first one. And we're adding that slash because this is part of the same domain. We don't have to link to somewhere else on the web. We're saying, hey, go to the same folder we're living in right now and go get that writing file.
Exactly.
That's chill. And then we've got to add in some anchor text. So between the two doofers, can we just say writing? Like keep it easy?
Yeah.
If we save this and look at the file, I bet we're going to see, again, very unstructured, very unbeautiful. Cool. We've got that little nav. It is indeed above the title, like we said it would be. All chill. And it says, right, everything's fine and everything's going to be fine. I would like to do the other ones super fast. And the super fastest way to do them is copying and pasting in it.
Yes. So it won't be that fast because...
Well, I mean, what kind of exceptional hurry are we anyway? I figured because it's lunchtime and you are being so patient with me, I thought maybe we'd noodle along for 20, 30 minutes to get day and then go eat snacks.
That makes sense.
I mean, unfortunately, separately, you should really come to Birmingham to have snacks sometime.
Yes.
Do you know The thing I probably do most often after is I love how you
Okay.
didn't even need to wait. You'd be like, no, Jess, you talk a lot. It's fine. Here, it generally means like podcasts and conference talks, but it is just talk a
Ah,
lot. Speaking,
and
probably
after
work
that?
next, maybe. You know what? And it doesn't matter what order we put these in, does it?
Doesn't know. We can change it.
No, everything's fine.
This one.
Oh yeah, I think that's the most important one. Yesterday after talking to you, I did a ukulele lesson.
How was it?
People say that ukulele is the easiest instruments to learn. It may well be. The easiest doesn't mean easy, does it?
No, it really doesn't. I play ukulele as well.
Oh, do you? Oh no. That means I'm going to bother you for all the stuff you're good at and I'm rubbish at. Let's go ahead and get this sorted, and then we'll have to like write a little duet about CSS classes. Very normal stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got all our links. Let's go ahead and make So whenever we make a box to put stuff in, we want it to have as much semantic meaning as possible.
Yes.
And so div is like the generic empty box, right?
Yes.
But when we think about the kind of boxes that are available, we've got a header, and the link dump I'm thinking about isn't really a header. We've got article. It's not an article. I think we might just have to make a div. And there's nothing wrong with making a div, but like there's just not as much semantic meaning that we can give it.
Hmm.
And I think, do we want to put it at the bottom? And my reasoning here is that the natural flow of this is going to put that at the bottom, isn't it? So if we don't do anything with moving it, it'll automatically start at the top and read this sort of down.
Yeah.
And on little tiny screens, that's what we want. We want the nav bar, the content of the web page, and then that div on the bottom. But then we're going to use CSS to do cool stuff with it otherwise, I think. How can we make sure that CSS does something with this div and no other divs? Like, can we add a little label to it?
You want a label on the div?
I think a label. Yeah.
Like an ARIA label, or what kind of label?
Oh, so I think I just mean a class.
Oh, I see. What is the div going to be?
Link dump.
Link dump. Beautiful naming.
Oh gosh, somebody's saying there's no VOD of yesterday's session.
I think yesterday's wasn't on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that makes tons of sense. I was like, what's a VOD? Oh, video on demand. Do you know what? Y'all can just go ahead and start picking out my old age care home already. So we got a link to, and can we just add some example links as placeholders?
Yeah, sure.
So we've got that a ref. What is a cool?
We're never going to forget that now.
Well, I mean, you've been a web developer. You've been a developer and a web developer for a million years.
I mean, the anchor noise.
You'd be like, no, I'm just going to hear that sound in my soul. So I'm going to ask the lovely people watching, what would be some cool links to add? I might link to the Wikipedia article for extensive reading because I'm a huge nerd. And I mean huge nerd in the most braggy way possible. I'm going to throw that in here. Oh, Lewis is saying, oh, Japanese comics to help learn. Actually, extensive reading is the exact same vibe. It's the, for folks I've met before, hello. I'm learning Japanese. Well, I've been learning, I'm trying to patch up my Japanese literacy using this extensive reading approach. And it just means instead of like confronting the little owl in the app, or instead of like using a textbook, you just chill and you read stuff you actually like. So you don't look it up, you don't underline words, you don't make flashcards, just genuinely vibes-based learning.
That's cool.
And when I was a linguist, I was a little bit suspicious of this, where I was like, oh, does it work? And since I've been doing this myself, I'm like, do you know what? Like, because you're actually motivated to do it, it's really nice. Oh, Teddy is pointing out that if you want to save the videos on demand, you've got to opt into them on Twitch. I will absolutely lovingly, lightly bully Olu to see if we can get that set up. That's super chill. Everything is meditatively chill. Or if you want to look at me, I'm just nonstop trying to sell for you. Or if you want to make sure you catch whatever Olu does, it's always fantastic. You can also follow them. Okay. Is there a link you want to add? That's cool. Can we link to your YouTube or your Twitch?
Oh, that's true.
Oh, are you going to click on it and then give us the like tessellated into infinity thing? I love that.
Oh God, let's not do that. I'm thinking on the other screen.
We'll come back. Yeah. How about let's just use that extensive reading one for now.
Yeah, good idea.
Come back and add the whole point of a blog roll or whole point of a. I'm ancient. Look at me. The whole point of these little link dumps is you can add to them as you go. It's like buying art for your wall. You just collect them a little bit at a time.
Yes.
So these, if we save these and look, I think what it's going to show on our page is the links to the top. Yeah, the title, our text, our picture, and then that last link from the blog roll at the bottom. So this has been the order that it's naturally being read in. What if we start a CSS file so we can start overriding this and doing weird stuff?
Ooh.
And it's lunchtime. I don't want to take up your whole life. So let's just start a CSS file and maybe see if we can move that linked up into the left hand, the right hand. We'll move it to one side than the other for funsies.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Ooh, style or styles? That's the big question. I think it's style. Oh, sorry. Both of them work just fine. Everything's fine. I was just being a meanie. And right now, these are just two files in the same folder. They're not friends or anything. They don't know about each other until we go ahead and link.
Yeah.
So are we going to do that within the head?
I usually do. Where do you put yours usually?
Yeah. I always put it in the head, but I also have very little confidence in anything when people can see me. So I do like to, oh gosh, do we do the thing? Actually, this is giving people advice they didn't ask for is like giving somebody a couch, where very occasionally they'll be like, oh, dang, I needed a couch. But 90% of the time they're like,
Oh.
But it hasn't stopped me, and I don't think it will. Especially if I'm on stage, or especially if I'm streaming or somebody can see me. Instead of saying, I know we do X, I like to be like, oh, hey, do we do this thing? Partially, I tell myself because it's good to model asking questions. But really, it's because I know if I start getting like, oh, I know the answer. One of these days, somebody will be like, no, you've forgotten the most basic thing. We put the doc type at the top. And then I would have to wander into the canal and live at the bottom with the fish. It'd be fine. They seem fine in there. All right. So we've got the style sheet and it's linked. Shall we start writing a little tiny bit of CSS?
Yes. So our class name was Link Dump, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think, oh, heck. And this is me genuinely forgetting basic CSS, which is very graceful. Oh, the view sizing.
Oh, you mean
Yes.
the like?
With the rules and the curly braces, what are those called? Viewport
View sizing.
sizing?
Oh, you mean media
Doofers.
queries?
Yes. See, look at that. Where I'm just like, yeah, you know the doofers, and you're like, you mean a media query? I was like, yeah, the doofer. I'm just gonna check the CSS for media queries in here.
Go for it.
Yeah, everything's fine, and everything's going to be fine. And yeah, you got media screen, and I think we wanna give it, if it's bigger than a certain amount, we want to go ahead and change the rules for that, right?
Yeah. So how much bigger? What's the size?
So,
I've forgotten the syntax also.
yeah, I common sense wise, if I'm on a tablet, do I still want it to be nav content link roll at the bottom?
I think so.
Yeah. So we want sort of a, whoa, how big is a laptop screen?
Does
How
MDN have that on their list? I'm not sure.
it would be brilliant. How large is a laptop screen in pixels? And because there's do people still have 13-inch laptops? Am I old? Actually,
Yeah.
only answer that first one.
People do have 13-inch laptops, yes.
So, okay, so I think 13-inch laptop is what I'm thinking might be where we want to start separating it out. "13-inch screen in pixels."
Does it depend?
No, I was searching on DuckDuckGo. Yeah. Oh, is it Lewis or Louis? I'm so sorry, my love. Our friend Louis or Lewis, I'm so sorry, is asking, can we use a desktop or mobile version of a site without specifying the resolution? And I think we can totally do that. I think there's a built-in
There are
function for
built-ins.
that. Yeah.
I've forgotten what they're called.
The reason I'm so fussy about, can we find the pixels for this site, is because every now and again you'll be looking at the analytics for your website, and somebody will be looking at your website at something that is just so next level that you're like, what? How did you look at this website? The one that confused me the most is, I was once working on a website and they were like, oh yeah, accessed by Samsung refrigerator. I was like, oh, someone used a refrigerator to look at our website. That's super cool and normal. I wonder what they what they saw. I wonder how that experience. And maybe once in my life have I seen somebody be like, viewed on but I'd love to pick to choose the sizes by pixels, just so that if I'm not going to fix my website anytime soon, I bet. So that next year, if looking like surfing the web on your Peloton becomes quite popular. I'm not rich. I don't know if you could do that. We'll be able to automatically size that without having specified, oh, if you're on an exercise bike, please do this. So let's say maybe 1,300 pixels by, and the cool thing about CSS is we can experiment. Yeah, the minimum width. Yeah, the minimum width.
It's not autocorrecting, I'm surprised.
Oh gosh, if something's gone wrong, it's me doing it. Yeah, 1,300. And then, yeah, that feels right to me. It's a very, very logical, very fact-based approach to programming to be like, yeah, that feels legit. So here we're just saying, hey, I'm CSS. I set the style rules. If you run across a screen that's at least 13 pixels or larger, I want you to follow these special rules for those screens. And they would say, okay, the class, and I think to specify a class, it's dot and then the name.
Yep.
Yeah. I pride myself on being the most cheerful, rubbish at CSS person I've ever met. So we linked up, that was our class name. We say, hey, only this class can you float left? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like float just means, hey, go ahead and push this babby over there.
I wasn't sure what you're going to use. There's so many ways to do it now. There's CSS.
I
grid,
know,
and-
I know. We could grid, and grid would be the sort of not morally, because like whatever works, but it would be the very proper, very modern, modern of as of several years ago. But for now, let's be as lazy as we want to be, or as I want to be. And can we actually add a background color to link dump just so we can feel where that begins and ends?
How would you do that?
Yeah, I always like when I'm moving stuff around to make a big stripe of color. You're in charge of the actual colors. These are temporary colors. We're not going to keep them. Yeah. Shall we see if that worked? I'm feeling like we might feel confident enough to go get some lunch.
Awesome.
Reload.
It did indeed. Just a bit small.
It did work. That's not what.
Oh, you wanted it to be like by the side of the title, didn't you?
No. So that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It did indeed float left, but it floated left in relation to all of the other content we had. What if we squish it to the right instead? Because I think that'll look a lot different. In that it'll be on the other side. And I think something else, looking at this code, it's very, very understandable. That's what's going to happen. I think that emotionally, vibes-wise, what I wanted was a nice, big, solid column.
Right.
And I think we could do that. Yeah, we did it. Because when we say float right or float left, we just mean push it all the way. Yeah. What if we, because we technically did what we came here for. We got these different sections. And if you make the screen really small.
Where is my screen thingy?
Oh, where is your screen thingy? If you make that, it escapes back down to the bottom. And it's not purple anymore because we said we only want you to be purple if you're on a nice big screen. This feels chilled. How chill do you feel with me bossing you around all the time?
I feel very chill.
You are unnecessarily patient with me. What if we go get some lunch? And then maybe,
Awesome.
do you mind doing this again tomorrow at lunchtime?
Yeah, that works for me.
Amazing. Since you are too modest and too kind to brag about yourself, Olu does not just patiently and long-sufferingly deal with my foolishness, but sometimes does actually creative and interesting things on their own. If you want to see more of that, if you're watching on YouTube, I think there's a follow button, and I think they've got the exact same deal on Twitch.
Yep.
And you, being decidedly formal and very modest, will not big up how good at everything and brilliant you are. But I'm terrible at lying, and Olu is indeed one of the smartest, kindest, most interesting people I know. Shall I let you go and let everybody else go?
Good to see you. And thank you for watching, everyone.
It's amazing to have an excuse. Bye, my loves.